unbiased rugby. So we obviously it's Saturday today. We had such a great day of rugby today. It was absolutely amazing. I've got some really good news. Even though I've got a really big project and I've been working most of the day. I have figured out how to actually watch while I'm working. So the package that we have through our provider, DSTV, actually have an online thing. So I can actually log on to DSTV now and I can actually watch the games live. So I normally just have it on my second monitor while I'm working. So that's great. I'm super happy about that. That I can actually get to watch some of the games, which is super exciting. Because I was really getting quite concerned. At the moment, it looks like I'm going to have to work 12-hour days, but I will still be able to watch some of the games. So great. I'm super happy about that. Let's just go through the games for the day. I'm just going to put them up on the board here. So they're the games for today. So we had 3 games today. We had Australia versus Uruguay, England versus Argentina, and Japan versus Samoa. I only got to watch part of the Australia-Uruguay game. I was quite busy and I couldn't really watch it so early in the morning. Plus I started working and I hadn't figured out at that point that I could actually watch it live on my second screen. So I'm super happy about that now I can actually watch it live. One thing I can pick up from that first half was I have not been impressed with the Australian tackle technique for at least 2 years now. I think either they go too low and they get hit in the knee and it's really bad. It looks like in this game they were going way too high, and I can't see anything wrong with the ref finally just saying, listen, you've had one. Hey, Joe. Yeah, Joe, I think it's from Joe. Just welcome to the show. I think it's from your point of view. I think as an Irish supporter like you are, I think you might be thinking that that's the case. But I'm thinking that maybe Japanese fans are thinking something completely different. Look, it's going to come down to that last game, and barring whatever, I'm sure Ireland are going through. I don't think you have anything to worry about. So I really don't think you have anything to worry about. So I just had to laugh at that. Yeah, it was always about what your point of view is, because sometimes, it's always about the point of view. So, but I'm just going to talk about that Australia game. Like I said, I watched the first half, and I'm still not impressed with Australia's tackle technique. I think it's atrocious, the amount of high tackles, and there were a hell of a lot of arms around necks and stuff like that. I don't know, Joe. I don't know. It's a tough call, that one. The way the Japanese are playing at the moment, there's very few teams that could probably beat them at the moment. It's only really the real top tier 1 teams at the moment. They're really on top form. Welcome, Ultimate Sharpshooter. Welcome to the show. I think so, Joe. I think it must be a league thing, because they're tackling way too high, and it just seems like a common theme. And hey, Mr. Rugby, welcome back, Mr. Rugby fan, welcome back. Lots of cards today. I've got a big, even by the picture that I've got. Hey, Brandy, welcome to the show. I don't know, Bradley. I really don't know. But I'll get to that game now. Australia, Uruguay. Australia, they definitely deserved the win, but I think I wasn't too impressed. I wasn't too impressed today at all. But let's go into the next game. This is the game that I tipped to be the top game of the day, and it definitely wasn't. England versus Argentina. I think the first 20 minutes were glorious. It looked like it was going to be a real tight contest. And then, I also agree. It was a complete red card. You look at it slow motion and anything, that was a definite red card. And if it was going to be anyone on the Argentinian side that was going to get a red card, it would have been Lavanini. And I've been so impressed with him over the last couple of years. He's really improved his discipline. He's really improved his discipline, but that was just that the moment it happened, I went, there we go. That's the end of Argentina. It really was. I still don't think they would have won that game. I honestly don't think they would have. I think they would have. At least they would have had a chance, and anything could have happened in the second half. But yeah, I like the Argentinian backs. Who's the fullback for England? Elliot Daly. I think it's Elliot Daly. Geez, I'm seriously starting to like him as a player. And I was watching the game, and before they even said man of the match, I knew it was going to be Underhill. I think he's such a great player. Yeah, it's difficult, Bradley. It's all about perception. It's like that Farrell tackle on Esthazen last year. I honestly thought it was a yellow card, and it was just a penalty. So it is about perception, and I just looked at that, and it was direct contact to it was just right sharp. It was literally right sharp. I've got a still frame of it. It's actually the page, the thumbnail for this thing. I agree, ultimate sharpshooter. It literally became a little bit quite frustrating because Argentina, for that one lapse, I think were in the contest, and you just cannot play against England or New Zealand or South Africa or Ireland or Wales. You just cannot play against these sides with 14 players for 60 minutes. It's just physically impossible. That you notice that one person is not on the field, and that's in your engine room. It's one of your major lineup jumpers. It's your main engine room in your scrum. So yeah, I thought it was a bit of a. It took the contest out of the game, but at the end of the day, it was a red card. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The one thing that I did see. Jeez, Mr. Rugby fan, you're getting more and more brazen with your thing. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Look, the Tuolagi, I thought he hit. Who was it? Delgi? I think it was Delgi. He was in the air. If we watched the Lions tour, remember we watched the Lions tour, that second Lions tour, and literally the guy was literally 30 centimeters off the ground, and he was hit, and there was a penalty because he attacked the person in the air. And I can't remember which of the Argentinian player it was, but he was much higher than that, and that was at the Lions versus the All Blacks. So I honestly thought that it was more than a penalty, but I don't know why it wasn't. I really don't know why it wasn't. But if you start watching the game, you see a lot of hands in strange places around the neck. I've been watching the clear-outs of some of the rucks, and it's not picked up by everyone, the neck roll. Sometimes it's been picked up, but a lot of times it's not, because they start the neck roll and then they let go, but eventually the damage is done, because we've always known that wherever your head goes, your body goes. So it's a very easy way to get someone off the ruck, but not interfering with the player that much. But yeah, I was expecting more from that game, and I was a little bit disappointed. Look, England are through. I think they're the first team to qualify for the quarters. They've had 15 points. I think it's a done deal for them. They're really going to go through. I think with France, they don't even have to play fully 100%. They're through. So they can play a second string team, or they can rest players, or maybe they can go for it. I don't know. I just think with the 5 games in a row that they're going to have every weekend, they're going to have to rest something. Yeah, I agree. It's happening in the ruck, but look at the half neck rolls. I'm not talking about the full neck rolls. The full neck rolls when you pull the person over and you've got them by the neck. But just look at the half ones. They grab them by the neck, they do it to a certain point, and then they let go. But the damage is already done, and it's happening more and more and more. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to, obviously, Mr. Rugby fan will probably say if Namibia win the game, then it'll depend on that. But look, I wouldn't put it past them. I really wouldn't put it past them. There's a lot of jostling for position at the moment. To win a World Cup is a big feather in your cap, and the problem is you're going to end up facing them eventually when they're going to be a lot stronger, because the All Blacks tend to get stronger the more they go through the tournament. They prepare themselves to peak for the final, and that's how the All Blacks play. Let's be honest. They play their pool games iffy, but they're designed to peak for the final. So to face them in the semis and the final is going to be a lot worse than facing them in the quarters. I don't know what you think. I think facing them in the finals, you don't really want to face New Zealand in the final. Hey, Mark, welcome to the show. I think so too. I think the Fiji-Wales game is going to be fairly tight. I think Fiji haven't super impressed me this Rugby World Cup. It hasn't been the greatest showing from them. But all I can say is it was a dominant performance from England. It was a silly red card from Lavanini. It literally did. I'm not saying that was the one thing that caused them to lose that game, but it definitely was the major contributing thing that made them lose that game. Because playing with 14 men against 15 is just physically impossible for 60 minutes. Then we're going to go to... I don't know, Joe. I just don't understand why there's only one South African ref. There's only one New Zealand ref. Angus Gardner, I don't class as a ref. But there's only one from those two countries, and that's it. And then the rest are from either France or England or Wales, obviously, and a few other places. I'm just wondering why there's so few Southern Hemisphere refs at the World Cup, because I know there's one or two that are a bit better than. I'm trying to remember the New Zealand ref that was left out. I really like how he plays. He was a really good player, I think, I can't remember offhand, but he's not playing. But yeah, let's go to the final game of the day. Japan versus Samoa. Highly. I agree. It just seems kind of strange that the refs seem to be coming from a central place, and I don't know why. I don't know why. And but let's go to the last game of the day. I really enjoyed this game. I think the scoreline doesn't reflect the way that Samoa played. It did look from about half time, in that second half, did look like Japan was going to win that game. But I'm going to be completely honest. I'm super happy with the Samoan side. It was a thoroughly entertaining game. It was really an entertaining game. It just was so good to watch. I agree with the sharpshooter and Mark. It really is. Yeah, exactly, Bradley. I just think it was such an entertaining game. It was all over the place. And the one thing that's impressed me the most about this Rugby World Cup has been the crowds. Let's be honest, the crowds at this World Cup have been better than any Six Nations, the Rugby Championship has very few games unless New Zealand's playing. Very few spectators unless New Zealand's playing. But yeah, it was just thoroughly entertaining. I've got the stat chart in front of me. It's a decent tackle rate, pretty much the 10 penalties each, which is a little bit high. I don't know, Joe. I don't know. I didn't see that personally. But let's be honest, a lot of the teams have been getting a lot of away with offsides. I was watching, I can't remember which game it was. I think it was this game. And literally the ref was in the middle, so the kicker was just in front of him, and the player behind him was already 2 meters ahead of the line before the kick. But obviously the ref didn't see it was behind it. And obviously the touch judge didn't even see that either. So it's a little bit of a concern, these kind of things, but it was a thoroughly entertaining game. You can't, as a complete neutral, watching that game, I was thoroughly entertained. Tries all over the place, and the nicest thing about the Japanese tries is it wasn't just from wingers. It was set piece tries, it was line out mauls, it was winger tries, it was open space tries. It was the whole package, and that's the sign of a good team that can literally score tries from lots of different things. Like Georgia's a good side, but they're better at scoring tries from set pieces and stuff like that. I just offsides and we'll go to shocking. So I'm just trying to read this. Destroys Ireland style of play. I agree. Ultimate sharpshooter. I think lots of teams wish they had an exciting attack like the Japanese. We only have one attacking weapon, and that's my pimpy and Jason Colby. But coming back to that England game, it was so nice to see Knowles back playing. Even though I like the other wing, what's the other wing's name? He's an excellent finisher, one of the best finishers. I'll remember his name a little bit later. I'll put the game here. Let me have a look here. Let's look at the player stats. I'll get the guy's name. Not Watson. May. May's an exceptional finisher, an exceptional finisher. He's like a Mapimpi. He's at the right place at the right time. But Knowles, he created that try from nothing, and I've really liked him since he played at Premiership. I think he just brings something super exciting. I think so, Mark. I think so. I honestly think so. But it's going to be quite difficult because we can't really play home and away with 5 teams. That would just be too much. It's like literally, I think, 8 games. And I think that might be a bit much. I think they should join, but the problem is you can't really have 5 sides with a home and away. It would have to be one round, but then we'd only be playing 4 games, and then they're not really making the kind of money that they want in the Rugby Championship. I think it should be a 6 nations. We just need to find another nation to join besides Japan. I think Japan definitely deserve to be in the Rugby Championship, and we just need one more team, because then we can just play one round robin, and it's a once-off. And it also depends on the contracts are coming up soon, Joe. I think all the Sanzar contracts are 2021 or 2020. They're all getting renegotiated. So I think so. And it has to be one of the nations, and it's going to have to be Fiji, because you can't really have a Pacific Islands nation. It just doesn't work. You have to have one of the nations do it, and I think Fiji's a great option. So it would be Fiji, Japan, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Argentina, and every year you have a draw, and you might play New Zealand at home, or you might play New Zealand there, but you only get to play them once, the same as the other 6 nation works. I think that's what makes the 6 nations so exciting, and that's what made the Rugby Championship this year so much more exciting than any other time. Yeah, I think so. Just one of the island nations as part of it would be great. Almost all the tiers, tier 1 and almost tier 1 nations. I think they'd all basically be included, and I think Fiji and Japan has to be knocking at that door in a big way, in a really big way. They still need to beat a few other teams, like Australia, and maybe a couple of other tier 1 teams. It's the same as how Zimbabwe finally got test status when they beat. I can't remember who they beat. But yeah, entertaining game of rugby today. The Japan Samoa game was awesome. It's difficult. It's really difficult, Joe, and I understand why. Because the biggest draw card for any rugby game at an international level is probably the All Blacks. Let's be honest, it's the biggest card there is, and they demand more from the game than anybody else, because people want to watch that game, and they can generally charge a lot more for those tickets than any of the other tickets. I can't remember how much an international is here in this country. I'm going to make a plan to go watch a few next year, if a few are at Newlands just here. Actually, Newlands won't be able to hold internationals anymore. I think it'll have to be the Cape Town Stadium. So I'll go watch there. And what happens is New Zealand can dictate how much they get. And that's their prerogative for being the best and being the ones that actually draw the crowd and the biggest money. But yeah, let's talk about I did see that, but any other team, any other day, that would have been yellowed straight away. I hate grass-cutting tackles. It's dangerous, it's reckless, but it's not only reckless for the person that's being tackled, it's for the tackler. There's a reason why you're not supposed to tackle that low. Concussions and all of that's happen generally to the person who's tackling, not to the one that's being tackled. And it's all about tackle technique, and yeah, tackling that low is just not great. But yeah, let's talk about tomorrow's games. I've got New Zealand versus Namibia. I've got New Zealand to win by 66. That's in my Super Brew, and I think if Namibia score a point, they'll be happy. I think it would be a successful day for them, a completely successful day. And if they scored a try, that person who scored the try is going to be a cred for the rest of his life. You know, they're in Windhoek or wherever they are, playing in the deserts in Namibia. He'll be at the bar and everyone will buy him a drink for the rest of his life. But yeah, I'm seeing a score of 66-0. I think it might be a complete shutout game. I think New Zealand are playing with a few of their positions. I think Geordie at 10, if I'm honest. Not Geordie, I think there's a different halfback pairing. And then the next game, I've got France versus Tonga. I put France to win by 10. I think it might be a little bit higher than that. Actually, it might be a lot higher than that. But yeah, I'm just thinking, Tonga must have one good game in them. I think they have one good game, and I think they have it for this game. I think France may go in there a little bit overconfident, like some of the sides have, and come up a little bit short. But yeah, guys, that's the show for today. Yes, Brody Retallick is back. I actually forgot that. No, not really, Bradley. I was looking at the Wallabies jersey. Obviously, they have their sports emblem on over here. The sports emblem, and then they have their Wallabies logo on the side. So we're not the only team that has to do it. The Wallabies have to do it because our country's emblem is different to our team's emblem. So yeah, look, I've always liked the Bok logo on the jersey, but I think the rules state you're only allowed to have 3 logos on the front. But the nicest thing about World Rugby jerseys is there's no advertising on them, which is so amazing. So I think I'm gonna, if I can, when they start being a little bit cheaper, I'm gonna go order myself a few, because there's no advertising on them, and you can wear them for years and years and years, and I'm only supporting that team. But yeah, guys, Tonga. Yeah, I know it's going to be a lot higher. Ultimate sharpshooter. I just think France are that. They're such a strange team. You think they're going to play well, they can't catch the ball, and when you think they're going to do badly, then they go beat New Zealand. That's the kind of team they are. Hey guys, well, I'm going to have to go have dinner now. I've got some curry there in the kitchen, which my mother-in-law made. So I'm going to go have that now. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, it was such a great day of rugby. That last game was super enjoyable. Great news. I can actually watch it live while I'm working, so I can have it on my second screen, so I can actually have the game playing in the corner of my eye and just pick out all the highlights. But yeah, guys, I hope you have had an absolutely wonderful day, and you have a Tell me how many points will Ireland do you lot in the quarters? Joe, I'm not thinking about the quarters. but we still got to get through Canada, and then I'm going to only worry about the quarters. But listen, guys, I hope you have an absolutely... No, it's not that bad. But listen, guys, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful evening. Have a wonderful Sunday. And just as per normal, just try to treat everyone around you with love, and everything will work itself out. Chat soon. Cheers.